It's Sunday and it's still morning. There's quite a strange scene that's packing itself away, I suppose. Peninsula Marathon comes through Fishhook on the service road next to the train line, and I've positioned myself at a cafe so that I can watch the last of the runners coming through, and this is literally the last of the runners. And in some ways, it gives me a bit of a bird's eye view of the running life. My name is Benson. Welcome to my channel. Um, and the other bit that's unfolding is two aspects that are unfolding that might make me have to stop doing what I'm doing. Is that the sun is coming and going, and when it does come, it burns away every bit of energy that I've got, will to continue with this process. And then the last distraction is I was sitting quietly by myself until a bunch of about 10 cyclists just pulled in, and they pulled in at a table next to me, and they seemed to be very loud. And let's see how we negotiate that. I want to tie this session this morning session into Friday's live session. So I'm going to edit and fix and then tell people that there's a continuation, because it's so easy. Yeah, I've become very comfortable in my skin. I'm able to tell people what's on my mind. I'm able to know what I want. But it wasn't always like that. Definitely wasn't like that. There was a chapter in my life where I was a different person, and I want to talk about that today. So I want to pull some things out of the closet, and hoping that you could stay with me as we do a bit of a longer confession today. Being vulnerable. I can further vulnerabilize myself and tell you that the job that I did for the longest became clear to me when I watched a movie with my kids, Spider-Man. And I don't know which Spider-Man it was. All I know it was there were 3 Spider-Mans, and my son and his friends were very, very keen and very excited to be there. In fact, I think somewhere I read that someone was in tears when the 3 Spider-Mans were all on the stage at the same time. There's a quote from the one Spider-Man to the oldest Spider-Man, where he looks at him and says, "You dressed like you was." It had something to do with him not being in his suit. And then one of the Spider-Man says, "And you dressed like a youth pastor," which at that point he shows his suit under his clothing. But the point is, I spent a large section of my life working in youth development, youth ministry, youth pastorship. I always felt called to work with young people, and probably my first job, because I was a volunteer, Froggy Pond in Simonstown, Scripture Union, volunteer. Many people, souls, many camps, many activities, all with one plan to usher kids into the kingdom, I suppose. I've shifted on a little bit, but I've had a strange, I've moved away, and I must say to you that to connect to the person that I am now, and how I wasn't always like this. I've spent quite a lot of time working within church structures, but not particularly in the church, because I don't really like church. Let's get that out. Don't really like the vibe and the people, and the people who become gatekeepers to the kingdom. You know, people that have been damaged, who are now needing therapy from church people. Somewhere in the church there's God, but you've got to get there via the people, and that's the damage. So in 2010, I served as a youth pastor at a church in Constantia, and it was my first church gig, and I was very excited. My kids were both very, very young, and I literally walked into the dream job, and it became very slowly, the dream job became a nightmare, because I wasn't cut out to be the guy that they wanted. Interestingly, Friday passed, hence the hence um, the session today. On Friday was the first time in um, more than 7, 8 years that I actually called my former employer. One of the reasons why I had to call was that there was a person that I was needing to make contact with, and she had subsequently died. I found out after the phone call. But the bottom line is that was the first time in my head that I revisited that chapter, that dark chapter. I was called to bring kids into the church, and I wasn't convinced myself. There was just so much about that chapter. It was a beautiful old building with very faithful people stuck in their ways, staid people. Maybe the dying church employing a youth pastor to rejuvenate the membership. I've been to church this morning again, and one of the reasons I'm back, or feeling a sense of being back, is because I think that the church still has a role to play in society. I think there's still some good left. There's still some role that they can play, particularly in the space that we're in now post-COVID. So there's me telling you about the Christchurch Constantia section to my life, as well as the Scripture Union, and then ending off with St. Francis of Assisi in Simonstown. I've taken a long time out, a very long time out. So yeah, as we get to the end of this morning and this video, there's two things I want to do. I want to say to you that it's clear to me that there's still space for me, even though I've taken on a lot of water and weight, even though I am traumatized by church people. I still think that God's got a plan, that there's someone's life who can irrevocably be changed because of my actions. So in the next little while I will inform you about some projects that is coming up. In fact, the next video will probably be a bit of an ad for some work we're doing in March. So that's the first thing that I want to do, to say to you that I'm feeling rejuvenated in that space. And the second thing I want to do is lay down some bits to expect in the future videos, I suppose. I want to talk about the work that I do for myself as opposed to the work that I do for others. I want to talk about the food forests that comes out of that, and how some things have fallen into my lap. You have a good day.